Hey there, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Black Sails, Season 4, Episode 7. That's XXXV, or 35. Stay tuned as we give you our thoughts and predictions.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yeah. I just love this song so much, and I know we say it every single time we go live, but I feel like
I'm learning
so
it.
good.
I'll come and play it for you.
Oh, yeah.
In person
okay,
next
let's
time,
do it.
okay?
Wait. It's coming. It's coming, Nadine. Just do it. No, I'm just kidding. Won't put you on the spot like that. You guys, we are here yet again every week to talk Black Sails Season 4 episode. We're at number 7 right now. It's 35 in Roman numerals, XXXV. You know, there's so many numbers to explain these episodes.
You're doing great, though.
Thank you.
You're doing a really
Thank
good
you very
job.
much.
Proud of you.
We've got a good one to talk about tonight. A lot of setup for future turmoil, if you will. I am your host, Lauren Salaun. You guys can all find me everywhere online at Lauren Salaun, and I'm here with Nadine.
Yeah, hey guys, Nadine, Delle, Pella here, and you guys can find me at Nadine, DP in the number 3.
Awesome. So, okay, this episode, well, actually, before we dive into it, you guys watching live in YouTube land, make sure you are subscribed to us here, and you can also subscribe on iTunes as well and leave us a review. We've got the live chat up, so we want to hear what you guys thought about this week's episode, because you always have such great conversations.
Great thoughts for us.
Yeah, so keep it coming.
Chat away.
All right, so overall, what was kind of your general consensus about this episode?
We were kind of just chatting about this before, and I was saying that we're so used to just having, in the past, we've been used to, these setup episodes and then craziness and then setup, and now it's kind of been opposite. We have all this craziness, and we haven't been used to this whole setup and slow and, seeing what's going to come next. So I think that's what this was for us, but it kind of was like, it kind of just stopped me for a second, and I was like, okay, let's regroup a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was what it was.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It was a pretty mellow episode. They set us up for a lot of stuff to kind of hit the fan for sure, and big drama, but it wasn't really that exciting. We're just kind of dealing with the aftermath of what happened the week before. Which
madness.
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. We have that intensity, like you were saying, the kind of setting up more dialogue episode and then action dialogue, Yeah. So we're in one of those calmer episodes, and we start out with Silver. So as we know, we had the whole Eleanor and Maddie situation, and Eleanor dead skis. Maddie, we thought correctly that she was not dead. Yeah. Because no body.
There's no body. It's just Eleanor's word, which we can never go off of ever. So even in her death, that's sad, but it's true. Let's be real.
So we assumed correctly that Maddie is still alive, and we see that later. So we will, we'll get to that, of course. But, dealing with that big situation that we just had, because we know, Woods is going to have to, deal with that, and what's going to come out of that just big, mayhem that happened with the Spaniards, And so we've got in the beginning kind of opening up with Silver and Maddie's mom talking about her death, and that was a pretty powerful scene. Silver, this whole episode is so shaken up, as you would expect him to be.
But it's a side of him that we've only gotten glimpses of. And when he is talking with her mom and he goes, I loved her and I think she loved me, and I wanted you to know that. It was like a poor little puppy, and it was oh, poor, and then he just hops away, and I'm like, oh, my babe.
Hops away on his little peg leg.
Oh, but yeah, I think it was kind of, that's the only other person on the island that is going to actually sit there and discuss this or have the same emotions as him about it, because everyone else is just so hard and so rough, and no one really shows their feelings, and it's a different side of Silver.
I loved the mother throughout this whole episode. She's very... obviously she's heartbroken as well, but she was very calm, throughout the whole thing, and level-headed, which I think we've seen too with Maddie. They are very steady leaders, and that's been, I like that quality.
I think it's because they've been through so much their whole lives. They've basically been in chains, not in chains, and having to lead in secrecy and stuff. So something drastic that happens, they've learned that you can't go crazy or nothing good's going to come of it. But yeah, it just shows once again how great of a leader she is. You're right.
Unlike, we saw Eleanor as leader was so impulsive all the time and ridiculous. And I'm already over her being dead. I don't care that much anymore.
Like when I saw, I was just like, oh yeah, all right, we have more episodes.
Yeah.
That was kind of it. Like, all right, cool. It wasn't like
bummer.
Teach's death, like, or Vane's death.
Oh,
I feel
no.
like, you know what I mean? Like we really got emotional over that. With Eleanor, it was like not missing much.
Yeah, you guys in the chat, how do you feel? Do you miss Eleanor, or are you kind of like, meh, it's fine? Mm-hmm. I mean, we
It's
got
okay.
a creepy little Eleanor in this week's episode.
Wait, so
for sure.
was that a tear coming down her cheek, or
Well, it was
that,
like a vision.
It wasn't. I was like,
It was a vision. Not
I was like,
anything
what's
real.
happening right now? Like, what's going on? Because Eleanor would somehow manage to make
she's
that
like,
happen.
And then dies for real. No, she's for sure dead. That was just a vision. And there's kind of a disagreement right now with our pirate faction of what to do, whether they're gonna, keep fighting, what way they're gonna go. And again, Mama kind of steps in and is the leader and the deciding force in that. We've got a little, so let's switch gears a bit to Jack and Anne and Max situation, which is great. I mean, first of all, Anne's makeup in this episode looks so good. I mean, the makeup in general looks really great. Whose were we talking about recently that didn't look so good? It was somebody's, I feel like,
forget.
that was kind of crappy.
I forget.
But generally,
They're really
the
good.
makeup is exceptional. Like with Blackbeard, when he's getting his like whole face and body, that was so gnarly. Oh, Cartier Walker misses Eleanor a lot.
Well, there's someone.
Jill DS was heartbroken. Oh, we're insensitive.
Why are we so evil that we don't?
I don't know. She's just bugged me since day one.
I think it's, you have always hated. I've been up in the air.
hate her.
Not been a big fan or not been fond of her. I think the thing is that we love our male pirates. We love our boys so much. And she has single-handedly screwed over every single one of them. Even caused one or two of their deaths, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. Not to blame anyone. But I think that may be why we were just.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay.
I feel like I should like her more. Like, I feel bad for not liking her, but
I don't know.
Just kind of bothers me.
I think
But
she
it's okay.
escaped death way too many times, and it finally happened for her. So that's
Ouch.
mean.
It
What has
finally
happened?
caught up to her, that Eleanor.
That Eleanor girl.
So Jack and Anne are talking about Mac's situation and how she's kind of betrayed them, and they're very wary to do anything, to align themselves with her, and Jack, decides to go to they're meeting with Eleanor Guthrie's grandfather, and he tells her to, like, I'm sorry, you don't get to come. No, because you know what's going to happen if he doesn't like my plan? You're pretty much going to go, oh, I love his impression of her. He's like, oh, do you want Jacques Rackham? Because, oh, look, there he is, and how much do you want for him? That whole thing.
You're just gonna turn me
that.
over. It was kind of brilliant. And then seeing Anne was also like, wait, like, she hasn't come back down since, like, she came down the first time. And he's like, you basically told her to F off. Like, what do you expect the girl to do? And she's
I'm
like,
playing hard to get.
yeah, like, why wouldn't she come back down and, like, hang out with me? Like, I'm just sitting here alone in the bottom of a ship, like, half dying.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't she here? But I think it was funny because Jack said, he goes, you'll have what did he say? You'll have plenty of time to murder her. Now you just need a rest.
Yes. Like that
He's
one.
like, it's okay. You can murder her very soon. I was like, oh, Jack.
Oh, yeah. I loved the moments we got of Jack and Anne's relationship because I have always really loved their dynamic because they have this interesting, like, brother-sister bond, like, where sometimes they're into each other, sometimes they're not, but they're, like...
Is that a brother-sister bond?
No, oh, sorry. Oh, my gosh. No, I meant sometimes they're
mean.
not, and they're just, like, teammates,
Yeah.
and then other times they're like, oh, sure, let's bank out and hook up. But most of the time, I feel like it's just, like, a best friend.
Best friends,
Yeah, brother-sister
They're
bond. Sorry, I made this really weird.
It was great. No, it's like, friends with benefits, kind of, but I think that
But
it's...
less benefits, sexual benefits.
Sexual, yeah. But it's a very emotional love, though.
Yeah,
I think it's just
yeah.
without the whole sexual part, really. And I think that's why I was kind of surprised when he was leaving, or when Anne was leaving, or when he was leaving, and they gave that kiss.
Yeah.
And that was just like, I thought it was just going to be a hug, and then smack right on the lips as Max was watching.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I felt all
And they
of that.
both went for it, too. I mean, it was, like,
Yeah.
a very gentle, slow-moving thing, so Anne's face didn't get, like,
Yeah.
pulverized more. But
Maybe that was it. Yeah,
But it was very...
It was deep.
Yeah.
I loved it, kind of.
Yeah.
I was very
I loved
happy
it,
for
kind
them that they've made it to that level. But yeah, no, like you're right, we don't see that ever. And I think everyone's side, everyone's just so emotional, and I think it's just everything's ending or everything's gonna begin again, and no one really knows, and so everyone's all up in the air and just, I don't know, figuring it out.
We're kind of like, yeah, we're in new territory where things are gonna start getting kind of crazy. You know, we're definitely at a big turning point, and a lot of our pirates, you know, going from being pretty united in a sense to like each of them kind of taking a different plan, you know.
Which is not good.
And yeah, so we've got Jack talking to Grandpa Guthrie, and I love the little scene when he first goes in there and he's talking to this girl about like pirates, and she's like, oh my gosh, and what about him, and what about him, like reading, like essentially like reading about them in like gossip magazines, you know. It's so sensationalized, and it's funny because Rackham, you know, he's the perfect pirate to be dealing with somebody like this, because he's always been the one to try and make them more like civil and like noble causes and all that stuff. So when she's like, oh, and I heard about Vane that he would make stew out of their bones and stuff. He's like, excuse me, like what would you even do with bone stew, you know? And he's just doing it so logically, and you believed that. And
the guy comes to grab him, and he has to like, wait a second, he has to finish the conversation with her. And he's like, read a book, please.
Right.
Stop reading the newspaper.
So that was kind of, you know, I wonder if that for him was, in a sense, kind of disappointing too, you know, or like his kind of internal.
Well, I think it shows like the
there.
world that he's in down there is such in a bubble in comparison to everything else, and what they're doing and how they're fighting and all this stuff. And I thought it was interesting. Is he that famous of a pirate, Rackham, that she would know his name?
Yeah,
so
he was pretty well known. Yes,
he is that big and well known, because when I heard the Rackham part, I was like, oh, that's nice for him. Like, I'm sure he felt so great that like he was the third one that was like, I don't know. I never really thought that people would really know Jack that well. Like,
did you think that he was gonna? Did it surprise you that he didn't say, yes, it was him? Because he goes in like it's not like he's there under a alias in any way when he's talking to Grandpa at all. So for her, you know, I almost was like, oh, is he gonna say it? Like, oh, okay, why didn't he say it? Yes, I do, that's me.
Yeah, that is me.
You know?
I did initially think he was gonna say that, but then I think he recognized the type of person that she was and was not about that type of life.
Just like,
so he's like, oh no, no, I'm not dealing with this. I need to get her mental head straighter. And the funny thing is that the whole time, Grandma Guthrie's listening to all of this, and she's just sitting there. I can only imagine what's going on in her head, hearing all of this happen. Just laughing, knitting away.
Exactly, and later we learn Grandma Guthrie is the one who is in charge.
Exactly.
You know, so
Atta girl.
I like that she was able to hear that conversation, you know, and because Jack is very, you know, he's not like trying to build up the pirate lore and like the kind of like over the topness of these stories, you know. He's trying to be like, oh no, we're pirates, yes, but we are like gentlemen as well.
We're good people. We don't just take like machetes people's throats or anything. We're good.
Exactly.
Jokes.
So he goes and has his talk with Mr. Guthrie. Grandpa's kind of like, oh, bummer, Eleanor's dead. Like, doesn't care at all. Like, there's the slightest little hint of, you know, sadness, like a quiver on the corner of his lip, if that, but he's like over it. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, like that part of the family kind of screwed over my name like a long time ago, whatever. Yeah,
it started with her father and now her, so like, all right, I heard all I needed to say. Like, because what else do you say to him if you're Rackham? Like, there's nothing else to say. If the grandfather doesn't care about his granddaughter's death,
he's like, well, all right,
that's the basis of his whole argument to get him to help them, and so that's it. He's done.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, okay, well, cool, bye.
Well, all right, deuces.
Yeah. And then Grandma, you know, gets him on the way out, essentially, and they start talking. And somebody, who is this? Jill in the chat points out that Grandma was doing needlepoint like Eleanor, which is a very cool parallel to see in the episode we had. It wasn't last week, but I think it was the week before that, when Eleanor's doing needlepoint to like, you know, maintain her place as the lady, lady governor, if you will. But yet at the same time, she is so critical in the decision making, or was so critical in the decision making, and that's a very cool parallel to see now with Grandma. needlepoint, like outside of the meeting, but don't be confused because she's really the one you have to
She's
talk
the
to.
boss lady. Yeah. It's a good little front for everyone else so that everyone thinks one way of her until you actually know her. So it's try to cross me. I'm going to say her with my needlepoint, but try to cross me. See what happens with this needle.
And Max, even against Rackham's initial kind of inclinations, is the one that kind of wins her over. I think it's both of them, but Max helps with that situation.
But how interesting that Rackham was saying, no, I don't need you. You're not coming. You're going to sell me off. And then all of a sudden he comes back and is like, so you're going to come with me now? Yeah. She's like, what? I mean, like, he tries so hard not to need her, not to use that dynamic again. And then Max doesn't say anything. She's like,
yeah, she's like, okay.
Like, all right.
And
like, yep, I knew this was going to happen, kind of.
I loved how perceptive Mrs. Guthrie is, Grandma Guthrie. So Max is talking about, like, these things. They're going through, like, the like ledger and like her bookkeeping with Guthrie's guy, and he's like, okay, you have all these slaves, but these are your labor wages. Like, what's going on here? But you have slaves, and she's like, yeah, but they don't work for me. Like, I own them, but I pay them as well. And I like that a lot. I mean, we know that Max is an upstanding businesswoman, and so Grandma is like, okay, but there's another reason, more than just like the economic like advantages that you get out of it.
Yeah.
And so Max reveals that part of her history,
Her past,
being a slave herself.
Yeah.
And so that was cool to see.
It was cool that
and
she saw that.
Yeah.
It's I think it's because it's so unheard of that at that point in time that there has to be some other reason as for why, because if it was so economical, everyone would be doing it if it was this big economic fad and thing to do. And clearly that's not what's happening at that time. But yeah, she is very into it. And I loved also when Rackham came in, Rackham just starts talking and she's like, hey, does she have a voice? Can she speak? And the whole time she's just sitting there knitting too. She never stopped doing it at the entire time too, which I thought was very interesting. It's like, okay, I get it to the outsiders and stuff, but now that you're in a meeting, you still want to just be distracted a little bit, or I don't know, maybe it's her little her crutch to help her.
Yeah,
in a sense,
it keeps her busy, or it keeps that kind of, keeps people thinking a little less, not less of her, but thinking that she's not as powerful of a force as she is, even in those
in
meetings,
those moments, or that she doesn't care. And that, like, you really have to work hard to get her because she's just so distracted in a sense.
Yeah, she's like, oh, whatever. Oh, hold on, tough stitch. Sorry, what were you saying?
Once again.
So now we've got Grandma Guthrie on our side to go, kick butt in Nassau and reclaim the territory from Woodes Rogers.
Yeah, it's like people are grabbing it and then taking it away, and then there's Spanish now. It's just all over the place and such a mess to even try to explain. And the thing is, too, didn't they get there very quickly to Philadelphia? Like, how long is that journey by boat? I feel like it's like so much must have happened in the time that Rackham's been gone.
Yeah,
it was very quick. They were already there. I was kind of confused.
Yeah, I feel like that takes weeks, right?
It should, right? Like, we're always so concerned about like the travel time. I just don't get it.
Like, shouldn't Anne be a little bit better?
Right, just a little bit. I mean, she is sitting up, but yeah.
I guess she looks a little better. True.
But it was interesting to see how he dealt with the cold, Rackham walking around and stuff.
I know. And interestingly enough, I believe they filmed that when it was like disgustingly hot out. Yeah, they filmed it in like 100 degrees in South Africa, and they had some type of material that let the snow actually stick, not the snow, the fake snow stick, and it actually looked real. And then they CGI'd a bunch of the other stuff. It was kind of impressive what they do. Yeah, it looked so cool. It looked
really
good.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it
looks cold, which did its job.
So the only stipulation with this situation with Guthrie is that Rackham has been asked or commanded to kill Flint.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And
so we've got kind of a couple targets on Flint right now. I mean, more than a couple, most likely, because obviously, like, our Woodes Rogers team wants to kill all the pirates, but we've got now Rackham, who is in this bind that he's been told he needs to kill Flint in order for this deal to go through, in order to get the help of the Guthries. Yeah. And we don't really, obviously he's moving forward with that plan with the Guthries, but we don't know what his decision really has been on killing Flint.
Yeah, and the conversation that he has with Anne kind of just sums up all the questions that I had too of like, one, how are you going to do this? But not only if you're able to do it, and Rackham goes into a big thing of all he needs to do to be able to kill him and come out alive, which is a big feat for someone who's not that good at fighting. Our little Rackham, he's adorable, but he's not the big fighter. But at the end, I thought it was interesting that Anne was like, but okay, even if you managed to do that, how could you do that? Like, like
even
internally,
if you physically could you like emotionally? Are you the kind of man who can do that?
Which is so interesting for me to hear from Anne, who Anne is all about like, let's do.
She does, yeah. She's
stuff for
usually
us
like
and,
doesn't give a shit about killing people.
And what was her tie to Flint that emotional? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think she loves Rackham so much and knows all his deep ties and stuff. And she's like, wait, babe, hang on a second. Let's talk about. Let's have some therapy on this quick.
Well, and because him, I mean, which she points out, him doing that is basically like a big middle finger to all the pirates, you know, and to everybody. So if he does that, he's changing things forever, you know, for all of them. Not just like, oh, let's just solve this little problem. It's like, no, you're gonna like create irreparable damage for the rest of your future, and you're not gonna like, come on, you're gonna die too.
Yeah, he's not gonna make it through. I'm gonna predict right now that I think Flint is actually gonna make it through to the end, because there are all these targets on him, you know, with Silver and him, who knows what's gonna happen with there. Billy, clearly, we'll get into that in a second.
Pissed.
Billy wants him dead, and now, you know, Rackham has to, and so I think they're putting all these targets on him, but I think he's gonna live throughout it all.
Okay.
He's gonna be the main pirate. I know, early prediction, guys, but let's see what
Yeah,
happens.
wow. I know, that's exciting. I have confidence that Jack is going to figure out like a sneaky plan out of it, or be like, hey, Flint, by the way, BT dub, I made this plan, you know.
So how do we go about it? Can you play dead for a second and then like
I
come
just
back?
can't, because I don't think Rackham's that kind of man. And because if we think about it in terms of like a TV show and production value, I'm sorry, but a fight between Rackham and Flint is weird.
Yeah, it doesn't
No
make
one wants
sense.
to even watch that.
No.
Like, that's not exciting or dramatic. It's just like awkward.
No one wants to watch that.
Yeah.
It's the most awkward. Yeah, that is. Awkward is a great, because you know who's going to win.
Right.
You know who's
and
going
it's
to
just
lose.
going to be weird because no one's going to,
Would Flint even try that hard? Like,
He'd be like, for real, Jack? For real? What's happening?
yeah, like what are you kind of doing? But no, I mean that's in character with Rackham though, that he is going to come up with some divisive plan. Him and Anne together, and now Max is the triad is coming kind of back together in a sense. I don't know what's going on with that. But also, so Anne is staying in Philly now.
Yes.
So Anne is Max staying with her, because I didn't. Was Max getting off? Was Max staying with her there?
I don't know. You guys in the chat, was
confused
Max
about that.
staying with Anne? I'm not totally
In Philly.
sure.
But
I'm not
think
totally sure.
It's kind of brilliant, though. It's great that Anne can get some medical help, because the last thing I want to see poor Anne suffer anymore. I want her out fighting again, and I want her out being a big boss.
It's going to take her a long time to get better. She like couldn't even stand up on her own.
I know. It was really sad. But her eye is looking better.
Yeah. So I think she's on the mend. Slow mend for sure.
I mean, that girl needs to go. Like, the thing is that those pirates, give her credit for everything she did for that crew that no other guy sitting down there below deck was able to do. Her name needs to be in that history book.
All right, so Jill, yes, Max is in Philly with Anne. Okay, so they're going to have some time to reconcile things and fall back in love, and then they're going to have that interesting three-way situation again.
Dynamic
again.
again.
Yeah, that arrangement.
Yeah, that triad will be strong again.
The triad. Yeah, so I agree. I think Rackham's going to find his way, weasel his way out of that. So let's see, where should we go next? Should we talk about Woods and Billy?
Yeah, let's do it.
So Woods, our initial scenes we have with Woods, he's meeting with the chambermaid whose name I forget, and I'm at this point just, I don't think gonna, what is her name?
Yeah, I wrote it down at one point. I'll let you know if
it's okay.
If
it doesn't
figure
matter.
It out.
And they're talking, and he is still like pissed and thinking like Eleanor was trying, betraying him.
Mrs. Hudson.
Mrs. Hudson.
Yeah. He said it once, and I was like, oh yeah, there we go.
And he is angry about the whole situation, rightfully so. And she's trying to be like, hey, dude, like, okay, maybe calm down with your assumptions and all this stuff. And he's blaming her of planting that seed in Eleanor's head of like, all that stuff that happened. And he comes to learn because the like medical examiner, which I don't think that's what they're called back then, comes in and he's like, how, about dressing the body. and is clearly gonna like reveal the pregnancy situation. And so that's a big shocker. And later, like through that and through discovering that, he realizes how wrong he was. And then his like bloodlust, like it's not necessarily bloodlust, I think, that we see. I mean, it's like the like darkest revenge though, but it's like it's just brewing. And I think it seems like he is very like level-headed about it though, which is like the scariest, because he's like so furious and heartbroken and pissed that he's like so calm and like plotting.
Well, I think he's gonna meet his own demise in a sense. Like he was trying so hard for one thing that he believed in, which I get. There was a lot of personal stuff happening, but look at everything that you've caused. Look at everything you've done. Him and Eleanor were perfect for each other because they both do that. They're both kind of selfish in a sense and don't think. But I loved the part with him, because I don't like a lot of scenes with him, but when he punched his fellow British soldier, he's like, "You let her leave?" He goes, bam, pops him right in the face. And then the Spanish are just looking at him and laughing. And I was like, yeah, that's awkward. That's an awkward. Oh yeah, you guys are real united here, aren't you? Like, the Spanish should just take over Nassau.
Right.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Why would I have any like deal with this
Like
guy?
what is this little governor doing down here?
Seriously, he's punching his own mates in the face, like right in front of us. Like I don't know. I don't know. I would never bring the Spanish onto there like he did. Even you could not trust. In the middle of a war, they're gonna say one thing and do another.
Well, yeah, and later, like finding out, you know, what went down. Like, I feel like he would not be keeping them that close.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, but I guess he knew. He would have known what had happened.
Yeah, he would have known. I think he just was so desperate that he went to those measures. Like no one else on his side, and he's just fighting his own battle now for his own pride in a sense because of everything that's happened. And even the British weren't willing to help him even more. And so now he got the Spanish, who's in a fight with the Brit. It's just crazy, man. I can't wrap my head around it. Talk about this forever.
I know. So there's that situation. He's pissed now, extra pissed. And we have Billy kind of come into the picture, which I'm sorry, but like I feel a little confused at how Billy is like having so much like freedom, right?
Like how he got there, because one of the guys freed him. So one of the men,
but nobody's like been able to keep an eye on him in any way.
No, because so he was locked up and tied in one of the wherever they were, the hut that they were hanging out in. And as soon as the Spanish soldiers were coming, the guy came and was like, "You shouldn't be locked up. Good luck, mate," and kind of left. And then he's
like,
he was able to sneak out on his own.
But that seems like, I mean, it has to happen for our story. But I'm like, okay, nobody was like, oh, maybe Billy, who's the one that's trying to like screw us all over.
Maybe we should check
Keep
on
an eye on him.
is. Yeah, no one went back to talk or see him.
So he, of course, goes directly to Rogers and is using the, his leverage, which isn't even his leverage, but he is using what he knows about Silver and Flint's relationship and like partnership to his advantage, and says like, you have the one thing that can break them apart and use it, So essentially using Maddie as bait. Yeah. And so and this is where we learn, of course, that she's alive. Yay!
She's actually alive.
And so Woods goes to meet with her, and she looks in good shape, and his main thing is asking her initially about Eleanor and how Eleanor died and stuff. And so asking if she was fighting and all this stuff, and I feel like that's like kind of all he
wanted to know.
Like,
but she wasn't really willing to say anything. She just kind of sat there in silence, and then it was only until he walked away that she was basically saying, like she was fighting.
Yeah,
that's exactly. That's all I'm gonna give you, basically. But for me, it was like I know it's weird. I kind of didn't want her to be alive and captured, because I feel like what's going to happen now with how there's going to be the split and all this stuff, I knew all of that was going to come of it. And it was kind of like, maybe if her death was a sacrificial death for the greater cause, that they could keep united, Silver and Flint, maybe
that would be so easy, right?
It'd be so easy, and they could come in
so much easier
and win, and I'll have a little party and hang out in that one room they all hang out in.
And so and Woods is pretty much like, okay, you help us out, and like, you'll stay alive, or I'm gonna like enslave everybody and burn this mother down.
Gosh, I'm scared of him now. Who knows what's gonna happen to him?
I know.
He has nothing to like. it's just him now. He's not caring for anyone else besides him and winning and his pride, in a sense. But I completely agree with Billy doing what Billy did.
Duh.
If my homies turned on me like that,
I'm like, oh, well, shit.
my brothers that I like have helped lead basically through all of this, Silver turned his back just like that, chose Flint over me. Whoo! Yeah, no, y'all are going down.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, too.
Exactly.
I'd have revenge. So you go, Billy.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I don't want the boys to get
No,
harmed.
I don't want them to get hurt, but I think that's the right move for Billy to make. Come on, save your butt.
In his shoes. Exactly.
Yeah. So, Trey agrees. He wanted her to be dead for the sake of the story as well.
Right?
So,
thank you, Trey.
So, Maddie, declines the offer and says, I love that closing line, which somebody in the chat repeated as well, that, she died fighting, and so will I.
That
So,
seems,
heck no, you're not getting me and my people.
Yeah, what do you think's going to happen? No, bud. No. I got my pirates. I got my hubby who loves me, or my soon-to-be hubby, hopefully. Maybe we'll see a wedding at the end. I don't know. I'm getting all excited.
I know. Maybe. I didn't even think about that.
Right? Like at the end, if there's this massive wedding and what are you reading? Oh, no.
No, Killian says, do you really believe that Billy betrayed everyone? Isn't this some kind of plan? Unfortunately, I think he's just looking out for himself right now.
Yeah, because I think they would have shown us that plan play out. Because,
and I think we've seen that sort of thing too many times, where it's like, oh, let me look like I'm leading people astray, but just kidding, I'm doing it for us still,
Yeah.
But I think Billy is going just for himself.
Well, I think if he wasn't almost left for dead, Silver stopped it, him getting what is that tool that one fighter that had Silver captured. What's his Israel or
hands?
Yeah, that he uses that one thing and just
it's like a little hatchet.
Oh, and it just cuts in.
It's like a little hand hoe.
It's a hand hoe. It's a little baby guy. But that thing, I would fight with that over a sword any day, because that just gets it anyway. So really? He was about to die with that.
I feel like you have to get a lot closer to that and
it's more
chip
intimate.
Away at someone. Whereas you could just stab someone from afar.
Yeah, I guess.
What do you guys think? Would you want a hand hoe or a sword?
Yeah, if you want to be an intimate. Maybe that's why it's hands. I know it's probably not, guys, but because he's so close with his hand.
Oh, I don't think.
I know it's not, but I was just giving another parallel.
Let me look this up, because somebody in the chat is going to get mad at us.
I know.
If we don't, you guys. I'm sorry.
I know. But I mean, the fact that he was literally, if he wasn't almost killed in that sense, there's no other reason as for why that he would now be conspiring with them. Like, oh, it's okay, guys. Yeah, let me still help you guys out a little bit. Yeah, let me go do this, put myself out there, go over to the British and do this for you. If that all didn't happen, then yeah, maybe I would believe the fact that he was conspiring. But this show also is crazy, and this show also surprises me. So you could be right.
Right.
You could be right.
Because Billy, we know Billy has good character and integrity, but at the same time, he got screwed over by everyone.
Yeah. When he was the leader of that revolution. He got screwed
by everybody. So I don't know. I could, if it was some secret plan, that wouldn't surprise me, but I feel like it's more likely that he's going rogue.
Yeah, or maybe what's going to happen is now when they come for the meeting, last minute maybe he'll change his mind and maybe he'll do something that helps them. But I don't think it was the initial reason why. Yeah, but I think once he sees, whoa, this is all, oh my gosh, I didn't think it through. I kind of still like these guys.
Right.
I don't know.
So now that we know Maddie is alive, Silver receives a ransom note, essentially.
Yeah.
Give us the booty, and we'll give you Maddie your booty. Hey, and that closing scene is so powerful with little hands and. Well, actually, before we get to that, though, they're talking about this situation, and he and Flint have a little disagreement, over what to do, because obviously Silver's motivated by his heart and everything, by love, and Flint is the greater good man, which he generally always is. He's kill off everybody for the greater good, and unless it's for his own interests, of course, but. He disagrees, obviously, and I liked when, he says that when we are of the same mind, there's nothing we're not able to do. And he says that in a way of because he's we either are going to get Maddie back or we go to war. We can't do both. But he doesn't leave it like that black and white in a sense. He's like, okay, we can't do both, but we can like figure out kind of a plan C in a sense that doesn't like
ruin it for
ruin
both.
everything.
Yeah, that at least lets us win something.
Like we can't like give the whole, you know, we can't give it up and to get her back because then we can't fight a war, but we can't like, if we fight, just go for the war, she'll die. So we'll figure out something, you know? And so I liked that because it did seem hopeful on Flint's part, but who knows if that's more Flint trying to keep Silver his ally. Yeah. Or if he really thinks like, okay, let's figure out a plan to make both happen.
Yeah, and I think it shows a lot of Flint actually recognizing the fact that he is better with Silver by his side than not. Yeah. Which is a huge lesson for him to have learned throughout all this. It only took 4 seasons for him, for him to realize that he's better with someone else by his side. But it's true, though. They are this great dynamic duo that are so separate and so different, but united together. Yeah, there's nothing that they can't do together.
Yeah. Exactly. So I thought that was a powerful thing from Flint to keep Silver close. And the ending, you know, we're seeing them kind of loading up a ship and stuff, and Silver and Hands are talking and talking about the plan. And Silver's like, oh, I'm confident in it. And he's like, one of you is more confident than the other, though. Are you confident? Like all this stuff. And basically, like, we learn that Silver has dug up the treasure and has it just in case his plan with Flint, just in case that plan doesn't really work out. I've got this just to give it to Woods, just in case, you know.
And it's just sitting there on the ship, and no one knows it's there. Like, who dug it up? Like, all of that. And Hans said, he goes, you're going to have to let him have his way, or you're going to have to kill him, in talking about Flint. And that was very powerful. Yes. And the fact that Hans has now been like a mentor and advisor, I guess, to Silver after everything they've been through. I mean, he did smack him in the face a few times, being like, get it together. Tell me what to do. I can't figure this out for you. And now he's telling him, hey, figure this out with Flint, because all of our lives are depending on it.
Right.
So I think it was a powerful little teaching moment together.
So, I don't know what, like, I feel like so much drama is going to happen.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I want it to end happy.
It's going to end with a wedding, I'm telling you.
It's going to end with a big wedding, and they're going to have a big pirate party.
It's going to be great. Right on the beach. It's going to be, that bar is going to be back up and running. The brothel is going to be at large, all right? Have it all back like season 1, episode 1, okay?
Yeah, A Pirate's Life for me. We're going back to the good old days.
There we go.
So we've got a lot of drama happening. We've got our pirates who are like, our pirates and our slave faction who's like, no, like, we're too far into this. We got to keep going. And then we've got people who are like, F it. We're like, this is a lost cause. I'm just going to look out for myself. And so everyone's kind of breaking off and splintering, you know, even if Silver has committed to Flint, like, he's obviously, you know, got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Yeah. You know.
So that's why he needs to make that commitment, and that's why Hans
one
is saying
peg
that.
in, 1 foot out.
Peg in, 1 foot out. I love it. That's why Hans is saying, like, you got to make a decision, because as soon as, if they break off completely, then the war is done. You can't have competing pirates killing, like we saw a few episodes ago, where they're fighting against each other, killing each other off, and they don't have that many men.
Right. And any moment of uncertainty, they're like, then I'm going to plan B. I'm going to jump ship. You know, or not jump ship. These like sayings that are relevant to pirate
there you go.
TV.
Doing something like that.
So I'm very curious. This was a very political and like plotting and setup episode. So it was pretty cool. We're ready for so much heartbreak.
Are we ready?
Oh no, we're the episode wise. Yeah. I'm personally not ready for it, but it's getting us ready for that.
Because I don't know who else I would be okay with them, you know, kind of passing on.
Killian, what do we think about Thomas possibly being alive? I think he's going to be. And that actually would be a very interesting twist with Maddie being Silver's, you know, lady, and then Thomas for Flint. And if Silver, because we know Silver knows a little bit about that situation, the like, you know, the like paradise prison for rich people or whatever it is.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And so what if Silver finagles a way to get Thomas and is like, ooh, you don't want to rescue my girl? I got your guy.
I got your guy. Oh, and then he pings. Wow, look at that prediction. That's a great one, because I'm really into that storyline. Or we can do like a spin-off of that. Like, I got your girl, or I got your guy, you got my girl. Come on, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If Thomas is alive, it'll be in the finale.
It'll be intense.
Maybe. Who
to say the
knows?
least.
My goodness.
I don't know if it'd be in the finale. I think we'd at least have one episode prior to the finale, because I think that it'll be a shock at the end of the episode 9, let's say, and then we'll have it all come to fruition and what's going to happen with all that at the last episode. You know, because they need to leave us with that shock, like
something heartbreaking.
You know, like
I
something
don't want it to be
crazy.
heartbreaking.
End of episode 9, so we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, woof. This was a good one. They always are always fun to watch. A lot of setup. So I think we're ready for some action. The teaser, we've just kind of got. So for next week, we're just getting ready for like shit to hit the fan, which which felt like that was what we were going to get this week based on the initial promo, but
Yeah.
it was kind of leading us on a little bit.
It was a little bit.
But yeah, I think that was pretty solid. Anything else we want to?
One
on?
more thing. I was just gonna say, I don't think Max showed enough emotion for Eleanor's death. Can we just throw that out there? Because I was thinking about that, and I for someone who I guess that she's more in love with Anne than she was with Eleanor or something, because she was getting all teary-eyed seeing Anne in her shape, but then hearing about Eleanor being dead, we just didn't even see any of that unless she like got herself together before her scene or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
She
There was
like,
nothing with
Eleanor,
the-
that lady, she's out of here.
Like, oh yeah, Eleanor's
too
dead
much of a
now.
headache.
Oh, Rackham, let's chat about it. Like, but that's it. I don't know. It was just.
Let's chat.
It was interesting because we saw the last kind of scene with her and Eleanor. It was this very, not emotional, but they brought up stuff from the past and like, would you have come with me? Where would we go? Like that, all that type of stuff. And it was just like, oh, okay, well, that phase is done with my life completely now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
I get it. I think we'll see a lot more with Anne and Max. Things rekindling, nursing her back to health, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because Max said too, I want to be there for you, I want to help you get back. And Anna's like, get out of here.
Yeah,
Leave me
F off.
alone. Leave me alone.
All right, you guys. Killian agrees with that. Not much emotion. Okay, guys.
Thank you, Killian.
Thank you so much for chatting with us tonight. I think that just about does us for this week's episode. You guys know where to find us here on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. We've got not only this after show, but every other one that we do here at the studio, and on iTunes and SoundCloud as well. And if you're in iTunes, guys, leave us a review. And you guys, in the meantime, between now and next week, when you see us here again, you can find me everywhere online at Lauren Salaun. That's LaurenSalaun. How about you, Nadine?
And I'm at Nadine DP and the number 3. Thank you guys for watching with us.
Awesome. See you guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.